Mic check. What's going on, world? You already know it's your boy SB, and I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of the Sauce Files. As always, I hope you're doing what you gotta do to get to where you gotta be. In today's conversation, we are going to tie into the previous episodes, and hopefully it will inspire you to be more intentional with your decision making. As always, we gotta kick the episode off with a quote, and today's quote is from Kilroy J. Olster, and it reads, every action that we take exacts a cost and produces consequences. Nothing can be undone. I promise you that I won't nerd out while talking about this, but I think we can go back to the Mad Titan Thanos and get a pretty good example about the cost of actions and consequences and how most things can't be undone. When Thanos set out to gather the Infinity Stones, he was on a mission to do the unthinkable. But I think out of all the stones that were required, it was how he acquired the Soul Stone that stood out to me the most. When Thanos and Gamora got to Vormir, Red Skull warned Thanos that to ensure whoever possesses the Soul Stone understands its power and that the stone demands a sacrifice. In order to take the stone, you must lose that which you love, a soul for a soul. How does that relate to this conversation? Let's unpack it, shall we? As the opening quote states, every action that we take exacts a cost, and nothing can be undone. Similar to Thanos tossing Gamora off the mountain for the Soul Stone, certain choices have major consequences. Excuse me. Certain choices have minor consequences. Other choices are quote unquote canon events that are unavoidable. These canon events have to happen in order for you to grow into the person that you were designed to be. Some choices are there to help you level up. When you level up, there's a lesson to be learned, and you can either run from it or you can learn from it. I know this because for years I did the same. Similar to the interactive show on Netflix called The Black Mirror Bandersnatch, some choices have to be made to lead you down a certain path. If you choose the right path, you will make it to the next scene. However, sometimes you get the choice wrong and the path leads you back to the beginning of the scene, but this time you know what to do and how to do it. It sounds silly to compare the Avengers and Black Mirror Bandersnatch to our personal journey, but the message is all the same. Every action we take either keeps us on the course or it puts us in a position to correct our mistakes. Second chances are extremely rare, but if you can handle your misfortunes with an open mind, you can see where you went wrong, correct those mistakes, and move forward in your journey. With this in mind, we should practice being more mindful and intentional with our actions. That's why being committed to your personal journey is important. If we make decisions that are instrumental to our growth, the positive outcomes outweigh the bad. I've said this before, and I'm gonna say it again. You can't be in two places at the same time. You can either be in or you can be out. The same rules apply for decision making. As the saying goes, if you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes a sacrifice. As we talked about in previous episodes, it's important that we make decisions that ensure we are on track to get to our desired destination. Even that moment of procrastination before working on a project can be an unseen canon event. You can say, I'll do it tomorrow and never get to it, only to look up 30 years later and wish you would have taken advantage of the opportunity while you was in that moment. Being in that moment and capitalizing on the randomness of life is what separates the good from the great. That's another reason why I've been dipping in this believe in yourself sauce. Because if you can take control of your mindset and believe in yourself, take the required steps to get to your goals, the proof of your success will be in your results. If you make it your main objective to block out the distractions and lock in on your goals, the consequences will be you getting in alignment with your end goal. We owe it to ourselves to keep in mind that our actions come with a cost, and once the decision is made, there's no going back. Words are like writing with permanent marker. Once you say it, it's said, and there's no turning back. When you're on the verge of a crash out, be mindful of what you say next. Because I'm sure we've heard the saying that there's three type of people that tell the unfiltered truth. That's kids, drunk people, and angry people. When we come face to face with these character building moments, it's imperative that we keep in mind that although the crash out may be understandable, things will never be the same if we do. When you're in those heated arguments, be careful of your words because they can cause you to branch off your timeline and put you in a situation that will change the course of your life. Same goes with choosing to put in the work and putting it off for another day because those days turn to weeks, weeks turn to months, months turn to years, and etc. And like we talked about in the power of belief, the spiral is our proof that we are all connected. From seashells, ram horns, perfectly thrown footballs, and our lives either spiraling out of control or spiraling into a sea of blessings. Our response to moments of adversity is what dictates what happens next in our life. If you've made it this far in the episode, this is your reminder to be aware of what you want now versus what you want most. While rest is a key component to success, learning to push through the tiredness to find your second wind is often the difference maker from you getting to where you want to be and you barely missing the opportunity. This week has been extremely challenging for me because the thing with having kids, I'm pretty sure if you're a parent, you know this. When you putting them to sleep, if you're not careful, you will get caught slipping and you will wake up at 7 in the morning without getting anything done. And I've been so consistent this year that I feel off and a little disappointed in myself when I miss my schedule or I put off the work that I know I could have done. Me personally, I hate that feeling. That's why I stay up late to deliver these episodes to show you that I'm also human and I battle those same moments of procrastination too. But when I think about the life I'm trying to provide for my family, that's all the convincing that I need to get back to work. So this is your reminder that it's time to take advantage of these moments and be prepared to reap the benefits of putting in the work. You know, I always try to tie each episode in to the next, and I try to tie it into the latter. But, you know, like I said, we all got choices to make. We can either put in the work and get to where we want to be. We can build that foundation. We can build it brick by brick, or we can choose to put it off and continue to put it off and miss the opportunity because we were scared to run away from the work. We can put it off because, you know, for whatever reason, we just didn't feel like doing it today or whatever the case might be. But I just want you to understand that every action has a reaction. And once your choice is made, it can't be undone. So if you got a project right now that you've been putting off, this is your time to put in the work. This is your time to put in the work because I'm telling you, 2026 is going to be proof of who been putting in the work. It could be putting in the work for the last 6 months. It could be whoever been putting in the work for the last year. It could be who been putting in the work for the last 5, 10 years. Like I'm telling you, this is just coming from my perspective, bro. Like there's times on this journey where I didn't feel like I could do it, or I let the negative stuff that was happening in my life get in the way of me putting in the work that I need to put in. And I wasted a good portion of my 20s trying to do other things instead of doing the things that I know I needed to be doing. Thank God that I'm on his good side and that he put the vision back in my heart to be a podcast host in 2020. I've been locked in on this mission and I haven't turned back. And it's arguably one of the greatest decisions of my life because I felt, you know, at the time when I was, you know, doing other stuff instead of doing this podcast stuff, it was cool, you know what I'm saying? But I wanted my work to have meaning. And the only work that I know that I could do to have meaning was this podcast and to continue writing and putting out books. And as I said before, like not even trying to brag, like it's put me in situations that I've only dreamt of. It's only put me in situations that, you know, old me knew was possible, but I didn't know it was possible because of the work that I had to put in. Like it's hard, man. Anybody that's grinding right now, you already know how challenging the process is. But to have kids and go through that process at the same time, it is insane, man. And I'm just grateful, to be grounded by my friends. I'm grateful to be grounded in gratitude. I'm grateful to, be surrounded by people that encourage me to win. Like even if it's something that they post and it's not even directed towards me, I take that as a sign from God and the universe that it's time to get to work. So just like I take that sign, if you made it to this sentence right here, this is your sign that it's time to get to work. It's time to get to work. It's about to be the end of July. That means we got about 4 or 5 months left in the year. A lot can happen in the 4 or 5 months. A lot can happen in 4 or 5 months. So I'm telling you, if you got something that you need to be working on, work on it. Do not let this opportunity pass you by. Do not let another day go by where you don't build your dream life. Because I'm telling you, it's scientific fact. If you give up now, you'll never get to where you're going. We've been through too much. We've came too far for this to be it. We've seen what life is like when we doubt ourselves. Now it's time that we see what life is like when we believe in ourselves. So as always, as I end every episode, I believe in you. I want you to win. I want you to succeed. Everything your heart desires, I want you to put in the work to get there. But it doesn't matter what I want. It's all about what you want. So with that being said, that concludes today's episode of the Sauce Files. As always, if you enjoyed the conversation, please like, comment, and subscribe to the campaign. Make sure you check out saucebrady.books.com. Make sure you grab some merch from the spot and the Sauce Factory. And as always, man, get lifted, stay inspired. It's your boy. Peace.